1 million shares!
Oh my God!
A Blockbuster video stock.
Number 20. Spotify killed CDs. Gone are the days of forking up money to try out a new band on CD, only to discover you don't like their style.
Okay, buddy. I didn't know it was pick on the middle-aged square guy day. My apologies.
That was how we did it in the 90s and early 2000s, but with the advent of Napster in 1999, a new way of thinking was established. What if we could share and access music online?
How long was I out? Is Napster still a thing?
Huge mainstream music streaming services didn't come until years later, but when it did, it represented a much simpler and cheaper way to access your favourite and unknown music. In-store CD purchases have fallen drastically, replaced by subscriptions to online streaming platforms, Spotify being the most popular as of 2023.
Whoa, this is Spotify?
Yep.
Number 19. Digital word processors killed the typewriter. Okay, so typewriters are arguably much cooler than computers, but they're also far less practical in pretty much every single way. Back in the 1970s, the first word processor came about, leading some typists to make the digital switch. By the 1980s, MacWrite on the Apple Macintosh and Microsoft Word on the IBM PC were in full swing, which spelled the beginning of the end for the humble typewriter.
What do you want me to do about it?
And with the invention of super slim, super portable laptop-style computers, typewriters were all but wiped out, except for maybe in prisons, certain government buildings, and hipsters' apartments.
God, even Microsoft Word hates your writing.
Number 18. IBM killed Commodore.
I adore my 64, my Commodore 64.
Speaking of computers, here's another retro blast from the past. There was a time when Commodore stood tall. From its establishment in 1954, Commodore International made a name for itself in the production of home computers, from the Commodore PET to the Commodore 64.
Commodore, bringing computers down to earth.
Unfortunately, its rival company IBM made strides in developing computer technology further than ever before, while Commodore was increasingly seen in the 1980s as the producers of cheap and disposable hardware.
The Commodore 64 has more built-in memory than the others, and it's under $600.
IBM's constant evolution and rising profits, coupled with Commodore's existing troubles, may very well have led to the latter company's bankruptcy in 1994.
What does IBM stand for? Nothing. It just sounds professional.
Number 17. LCD screens killed CRT screens.
A lot of people in the room, you need more space. Voila, right into the wall. Wow.
Up until the early to mid-2000s, bulky cathode ray tube TVs were still very much staples in homes all over the world. And they still have their place today, especially with retro gamers who praise their superior contrast ratios and high refresh rates. However, LCD, plasma, and OLED displays pretty much wiped out CRT screens from the mainstream in the space of about 10 years, and it's easy to see why.
I got you the big screen TV.
They're slimmer and lighter, consume less power, have a longer lifespan, and don't suffer from the dreaded CRT image burn-in, which would leave permanent discoloration on the screen if an image was left on screen long enough. Ah, the memories. Number 16. Apple iPod killed the MP3 player.
Take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
Although the iPod was effectively just another MP3 player, it really wasn't just another MP3 player. The first iPod was introduced in 2001, and it had a better user interface and a sleeker build than conventional MP3 players. It also had the ability to store up to 1,000 songs, which at the time was mind-blowing.
How about the iPod? Is this for me?
Yeah, well, that's my old iPod.
Oh, buddy, thank you.
It also helped form an entire Apple ecosystem along with iTunes, allowing users to seamlessly purchase and listen to music on the go. Once people got a taste for the iPod, other MP3 players felt like antiques. Of course, 20 years later, the iPod would cease to exist due to advancements with the iPhone. More on that later. Number 15. Call of Duty killed Medal of Honor. The Medal of Honor series was absolutely untouchable in the World War II first-person shooter game franchise. That was until Call of Duty joined the party.
I understood that reference.
Call of Duty had some solid first entries focusing on World War II. In fact, its first installment was codenamed Medal of Honor Killer before its release. But it was the shift to modern warfare that really knocked Medal of Honor off its perch, and Call of Duty's legendary multiplayer was the final nail in the coffin.
Call of Duty 4.
What?
Call of Duty 4.
Call it Duty 4?
In fact, as of this video, there hasn't been a significant Medal of Honor game released for almost 15 years. Search and destroy indeed. Number 14. Dell killed Gateway.
Now hold on, Dad. It's just $849 for all of this.
The world of computer technology can definitely be a heated one. Such was the case with the conflict between Dell and Gateway, two companies competing for the computer hardware market in the late 1990s and early 2000s.
Rule number 1. No touching of the hair or face.
While Gateway buckled under the effects of the dot-com bust, Dell thrived with its embrace of direct sales and customizing one's PC to fit the consumer's intent. Struggling to compete, Gateway scaled back its operations further and further. It's at once sad and fascinating. Number 13. Transformers killed GoBots.
You're wonderful, you're wonderful.
Sometimes success can be a fleeting thing. Take for instance the GoBots line of transforming toy robots, introduced in 1983 by Tonka, the year before Hasbro launched the Transformers brand of toys. Despite being similar in design and themes,
This is a Transformer, and this is a GoBot. Look at the obvious difference.
the Transformers proved to be the more enduring toy line, while sales dropped for the GoBots after initial success. In the end, Tonka ceased production in 1987, 4 years before Hasbro would buy the GoBots brand altogether, integrating them into the Transformers franchise. Number 12. Internet Explorer killed Netscape. There was nothing quite like the browser wars of yore. In the 1990s, the world saw an influx of internet browsers, with two of the most competitive being Microsoft's Internet Explorer and Netscape Navigator. For several years, Netscape and Microsoft updated their respective browsers at a breakneck pace. Though Microsoft's greater resources and decision to make Internet Explorer free for Windows users eventually gave them the victory. Though Netscape's browser code still lives on through Mozilla Firefox, it's clear that Internet Explorer won its place in history.
This wins the internet while still being hashtag so bored.
Number 11. Uber killed taxicabs.
All right, you son of a bitch, this is my cab, ow!
The Uber ride-hailing service was born out of frustration, with its founders looking for new ways to make transport more affordable and more readily available. The app-based service allows users to hail a cab quickly and easily from wherever they are. Add to that the fact that Uber employs drivers who use their own vehicles, and you've got a recipe for disaster, at least from the point of view of traditional cab drivers.
There's no other flexible way to earn like Uber. I love driving my car. I'm proud to be an electric vehicle driver on the app.
Like everything nowadays, Uber is all about convenience, which has unfortunately led those that would usually seek out a cab on a street corner or by phone to look elsewhere. And Uber isn't the only one, with the likes of Lyft also contributing to the demise of the trusty cab.
It's not going to be easy. We're going to have to make some radical changes.
Damn straight.
Number 10. Gmail killed Hotmail. With the dust settled, Google's electronic mail service stands tall. Yet this was not always the case. Its competitor Hotmail, established in 1996 as one of the world's first webmail providers, had a foothold for quite some time. Sporting integration with Microsoft-owned programs and being free to use, Hotmail certainly stood out.
Check your Hotmail whenever you want, because you'll never know what you'll find.
Until April 1st, 2004, when Google Inc. launched their simply titled Gmail service. With its more flexible interface, greater amount of storage space, and general polish, Gmail rose in popularity and left Hotmail to be slowly phased out.
I'm going to check my Hotmail password. What is my password?
Number 9. Smartphone camera killed digital camera. Cameras have always had their place, but the technology has seen its share of conflict. With the advent of the smartphone, people have taken to its plethora of features, including cameras with increasing quality of images.
Why does the phone have a camera go to it?
It's a camera phone.
Thus, the digital camera has been overcome, in spite of being known for high-quality photography. It's said that from 2012 to 2013, smartphone sales rose to over 1 billion, while digital camera shipments fell by around 30%. So, it would seem the market has spoken. Number 8. DVD killed VHS.
He tried to take it away from them, and they killed him. Quietly.
We could have picked various different movie format battles for this list, Betamax versus VHS, DVD versus Blu-ray, but the VHS and DVD rivalry was arguably the most significant.
VHS was king when Feynman drove this van.
Now, for all we know, there are hidden compartments lousy with Jane Fonda workout videos.
VHS ruled the roost for about 30 years, but when DVDs rose to prominence in the early 2000s, their clearer picture, compact size, and clever menu functionality made the mass switch to DVD inevitable. Movie fans adapted their home collections, video stores loaded up on DVDs.
Are you embarrassed by this game I've started to play?
And eventually, VHS was left in the dust, or at least stacked up in garages and closets everywhere.
Unopened blank VHS tapes.
And old thermometers.
If those tips could talk.
Number 7. Ballpoint pens killed fountain pens.
The pen is truly mightier than the sword.
We take for granted how easy it is to quickly grab a pen and write something down, and that's thanks to the ballpoint pen. Before the ballpoint pen, we had to rely on dip pens, or at best, fountain pens, and they could only write on certain surfaces.
Can you tell me?
The first patent for the ballpoint pen actually dates all the way back to 1888, but it wasn't until Laszlo Biro filed a patent in 1938 that the ballpoint pen as we know it was on its way to achieving commercial success. By the 50s and 60s, the classic ink in a tube pen was mainstream, and so the more impractical quills and fountain pens were relegated to the pen pot, reserved only for fanciful calligraphy. Number 6. Amazon Kindle killed paperback books.
Who wants to burn books? Who wants to spit on the Constitution of the United States of America? Anybody?
The Amazon Kindle e-reader is to books what the iPod was to MP3 players. Sure, it does the same thing, except it doesn't. It does it better, in most ways anyway.
Not fair.
The first Kindle was released in 2007, and it represented a new way to read and listen to books, with storage for up to 200 titles. This changed the way people read at home, on public transport, and of course on holiday. And since 2007, there have been tons of new and improved Kindle iterations, giving you a literal bookshop worth of titles at your fingertips. But let's be real, books will never go away, although the tradition of going to a local bookshop for a browse has likely changed forever.
I don't have a book down my trousers.
Right.
Number 5. Tesla killed the luxury car market.
Wow, look at this thing.
New Tesla.
A bold claim? Maybe, but not really when you look at the figures. Brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Lexus have had a solid foothold in the US car market for a long time. But over the last few years, the eco-centric car brand Tesla has accelerated past its competition and actually outsold its German and Japanese rivals by a pretty hefty margin.
You want a BMW? Yeah, can you tell?
The combination of opulence, coolness, and electric power seems to have won over those seeking a luxurious ride, and Tesla is looking stronger and more advanced every single year, signifying a possible transition to an all-electric car market. Number 4. PlayStation 2 killed Sega Dreamcast.
PlayStation is whack.
Sony and Sega, both innovators, both participants in the console wars. Sega's final home console would be the Dreamcast, built to cut costs and contrast its more expensive predecessor, the Sega Saturn.
Somehow I doubt it, Sega boy.
While the Dreamcast started out with a strong launch in America in the late 90s, the public's interest in the system soon faded, replaced by growing fixation on the then upcoming Sony PlayStation 2. Sony's eventual embrace of third-party developers and general financial security contrasted Sega's financial losses and limited third-party support, leading the PS2 to succeed where the Dreamcast could not.
I got everything you need. Games for the Dreamcast, PlayStation 1.
Number 3. Netflix killed Blockbuster.
Yeah! Blockbuster on 3!
Farewell, rental stores. Your time has passed. Once upon a time, video rental chains such as Blockbuster cornered the market in terms of providing people with films, television, and other media. However, that all changed with the 1997 founding of Netflix, initially a video rental service that transitioned into media streaming.
I've been doing Netflix, like everybody.
Zing.
The ease of viewing films and TV on Netflix, matched by a reasonable service fee, ensured the downfall of traditional rental outlets, including Blockbuster's liquidation as of 2014.
1 million shares!
Oh my God!
Of Blockbuster video stock.
Number 2. Facebook killed MySpace.
Yesterday's views. Deader than MySpace. 15 minutes of lame.
Two social media services enter, one service leaves. Acquired by News Corporation in 2005, MySpace stood tall as the world's largest social networking site for 3 years, even briefly surpassing Google as the most visited website in America. But that all changed with the rising appeal of Facebook, which was based around the fulfilling of the desires and demands of users rather than sticking to a firm portal strategy.
You guys on MySpace, or...?
Contrasting with MySpace's owner-mandated planning, this looser approach served Facebook well. Their worldwide visitor count rose, while MySpace's user count steadily shrank.
I don't want to see this on your MySpace page.
Number 1. Apple iPhone killed BlackBerry. Though the iPod's triumph over MP3 players is still monumental, the iPhone's success is on a whole nother level. For several years, BlackBerry's multi-purpose devices had a strong foothold in the market, particularly when it comes to their focuses on email services. Yet when Apple's iPhone device came on the scene with its sleeker interface and higher quality of design, BlackBerry struggled to compete.
Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck.
While they did make efforts to challenge Apple, BlackBerry's share in the market fell, while Apple rose to prominence. Truly, there can be only one.
It appears I've gotten under your skin. iPhone drop. But I won't, because I don't have Apple Care.
So, what competition-killing product interests you? Let us know in the comments below.
Do you think anybody would mind if I stayed and used the computer for a minute?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.